Report is Clyde, producer's job. They wanna be down with the gang.
And what made it feel right working with Ryan that this, like, it became more than just somebody supplying beats? Like, it's all Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, like, your partners. Like, how does that develop? Is it first just learning, like, liking his sound? Like, how does that develop a partnership?
Yeah, I think that it was liking his sound. And, I needed a producer. I needed somebody that was going to make records with me, not just send beats. Jake One's in the house. I bought some Jake beats.
Jake One.
I wrote to him, but Jake's making records with G Unit, and he's making beats for tons of different people. Like Ryan was like, I'm going to sit in the studio with you. I'm gonna critique your writing. We're gonna work on it. I'm gonna mix the track, like turn these into songs. And I had a producer on my first album. Name's Budo. Budo's in the house. No, just kidding. A very near dear friend of mine, and he started working with somebody else. So I was like, I didn't have that one person, and I feel like there are certain people that can go through and get 12 different producers on one album. I'm somebody that wants to build a rapport and a relationship and really work on these songs. And Ryan was that person. He was making stuff that was a little bit different. I'm kind of more classically gravitate towards like boom bap hip hop music, and Ryan was influenced by so many different genres, but it was interesting to me. And it was something that was a little bit different. And I was like, if this is gonna connect with people, it has to be a little bit different. I can't emulate what other people have made. I want to be forward thinking, and Ryan was that sound.
When did you know it was right? Like, when did it click that this feels like this is something different? Like, I'm in it with this guy, and
I don't know, because I felt that, and I don't think that Ryan felt that.
He thought you was gonna dump him.
No, he thought I thought I was about to get dumped. Like Ryan, he at the same time that we were working on the Versus EP, he was working with a guy named Symmetry, and they were working on an album, and we were working on our thing, and Ryan is the type of person that's like, he makes a beat and immediately he's like, yo, Elliott, come listen to this shit, dog. Boom. What do you think? What do you think? And if you're like, yo, this shit is crazy, Ryan's like, I'm the best.
RL.
And if you're like, I don't know, Ryan's like,
oh.
So, in particular, he was like that for, when we first started making music. I think that, now it's different. I think there is still elements of that in his personality. Just like anybody, we're artists. We're sensitive-ass people, man. I'm a grown-ass man, but I'm sensitive.
I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And, people would give Ryan feedback. Some people liked the Symmetry stuff more. And some people liked our stuff more, and Ryan was kind of in the middle and was like, I don't know what I'm going to really put my energy into. And, ours kind of caught on, and that was what he went with. But there was a time, we were going to call ourselves Versus. That was going to be like our group name. And why are you laughing, dude? I love that name. No,
that's kind of cool.
But Ryan was the person who was like, let's keep this Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Like, if I need to split, I can just cut out through the back door. And I'm like, come on, man, let's be a crew. And
but that's rare in hip hop now. Like the MC and the producer, gangsta.
Exactly, exactly. So at this point, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis is a crew. It's just our collective names. But yeah, I have no idea what I was talking about. But
no, but when did it so when you did Versus in response to that, I guess you went back on the road and started doing shows. Like, you talk a little bit about that. Like, I feel like a lot of your success is your ability. You're a great live performer. I was telling you how Beat Out of Rap Radar, that's how I got familiar with you. Like, he went to one of your shows and came away, this is before the heist, and, explaining, like, almost to understand you is to see you perform live. And that seems like you put a real premium to that. So was it shows around Versus that then began to feel like you still have a shot. This is your last shot, but you could achieve this.
You know, I think that another blessing in disguise with how long this took me, and just the nature of how we came up, and was the fact that I had so many years to get good at performing and comfortable in front of an audience. So many people these days, they put out a song, it goes viral, and next thing they know, they're on a stage and they've done 2 shows in their life before, and that stage is now in front of the world. You know, at the point where things started to kind of pick up momentum, I had already put in hours and hours and hours on stage, tons and tons of shows, and I had gotten comfortable in front of 1,000 people, in front of 20 people. And 20 people is a lot more challenging than 1,000 people. Yeah. 20 people is a bitch.
You know if they're rocking or not.
Yeah. You are so exposed in front of 20 people.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of shows in front of 20 people, man.
No, because how did you get to where you're selling out shows in New York, where, like, I didn't even know who you were, and you're selling out New York shows.
Yeah.
As an independent artist.
No, I knew you weren't there.
From Seattle. Yo, he said that he gave me his CD at South by Southwest, and I played him out. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was...
But you're a rap star now.
That was embarrassing.
He's a big rap star now, so, you know. I love when I'm wrong.
I was like, oh, shit, it's Elliott Wilson.
I love when I'm wrong.
I was like, had the backpack on. I was like, I'm going to give him my demo. It's like the first day of South by. I was like, what's up, man? Like, what's up? And then I busted out the CD, and you're like, thanks, man.
No, I didn't throw it.
No, you didn't throw it.
I didn't throw it. I dumped it back at the hotel.
Yeah,
somewhere.
not then. It's still at the
No,
Hyatt.
but then I was remember B-Dot Rap Radar, he went to the show, he came back, he's like, yo, it's a sold out show. I went, Macklemore, like, I don't even understand what's going on. This guy's, like, great. Like, the performance, like, you know, because, you know, New York's a tough crowd, obviously. And, like, you know, you came out of nowhere, and it's like the buzz starts building. This guy's coming to New York. He's some white dude from Seattle. He's selling out these shows in New York. Like, who is he? Then you got to go back and be like, find out who you are. Like, were there certain markets where you started seeing ticket sales pick up that you felt like, wow, this is like,
yeah, I mean,
beginning to be something?
You know, New York, we, you know, we started out at Webster Hall. Is that it?
Yep.
200 cap room. You know, we sold out 200 people in New York. And, you know, Zach, who at the time was our booking agent, was very strategic in let's play very small rooms and sell them out. Create a demand with the public, create buzz for whoever's paying attention that, wow, this person's selling out shows in San Francisco, in New York, in Seattle, in LA, and what is this? We would much rather play a smaller venue and sell it out than play a bigger venue and have it at half capacity. Yeah. And that was a method that really worked for us in terms of, you know, building momentum, in terms of people paying attention. But, you know, I get on stage, and that's where I feel like I'm at home. That's the place that I flourish. You know, I love the studio. Absolutely, I love the writing process. But in terms of me being an artist, I think that one of my greatest resources is what I can do with the stage.
What's the craziest purchase you've made now that you got a little bit of money?
That you'll admit to. Craziest purchase would be.
Uh-oh, he's embarrassed.
No, I'm not.
You bought a camel.
I bought a camel. The craziest purchase would be the music videos that we've made. Those, but I think that in terms of a personal purchase, I bought a car. I bought a Cadillac. Like,
that's not crazy.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. I did buy a Rolex. People are like, boo. No, but it's like a 1980s vintage Rolex.
Oh,
redemption.
Like, do you have a hard time processing the you know, how the bank account's looking? Like, is it, or do you rebel against it? Like, how do you know what I'm saying?
You know, I think that you know, one thing that I've always believed in, I've always thought, but you know, it's super cliche, but it's the, you know, money's not going to buy you happiness. And at times, again this year, when I was, making a ridiculous amount of money, when I had the #1 song in the world, I was, very unhappy. And I know that number, I haven't spent a lot of it at all. I shot, but I really haven't spent a lot of that money whatsoever. I know it's there. I think that what it is there's a certain level of comfort. There's a certain level of like, I'm good. But I can't even, I'm not home to buy a house. Like I'm barely, like my 2-bedroom apartment is basically just like a closet. Like we just literally go there to like
joking about this 2-bedroom apartment.
No, it's very real. And we just actually started looking at houses yesterday. So who knows what will happen, but I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be excessive. I don't, I'm somebody that likes material stuff, but I know that, that's not going to fulfill me. I'm not, I go spend X amount of dollars on a car or, on jewelry or whatever. And it's just like anything else. It's an addiction. And once you start, it's very hard for me to stop. Like once I start, and it's all relative. Then, and I've gone through periods of like being like, you're like, all right, I'm just going to get one more gold chain. This one's it. And then 2 days later, it's like, I need another gold chain.
No Jesus piece, though.
I have a Jesus piece, too.
You do? All right. You should have worn a Jesus
I'm a rapper,
piece.
man. I rap. I wear Jordans and Jesus pieces.
Speaking of being a rap, like, it's funny, we did this whole interview. We have yet to talk about being a white rapper. Isn't that great? It seems like the world's changed where, you know what I mean? We haven't really talked about that. But it's funny, you probably made a lot of people feel like the best record about that, white privilege, which you mentioned earlier. And it's funny because you weren't successful when you wrote that record.
Nope.
You were kind of writing it like Eminem sort of as an example at that time. Mm-hmm. But now you're successful. Like, how does that, listening to that, or how, if you wrote that record too, like, how does it affect you now, your viewpoint of that type of song? Like, now that you're, in some ways, the new generation can look at you as that guy.
White privilege is a fascinating topic. And it is one that is many different levels. We could spend this whole time talking about it. So it's tough to just kind of like dance into it and dance out of it. But, it's when I was growing up, hip hop was, even in Seattle, which is a very white city. Even in Seattle, there was diversity at hip hop shows. Like me being a white person at a hip hop show, like I was not the majority when I first started to go to hip hop shows. That started changing, with Eminem. I was a little bit too young for the Beastie Boys, but with Eminem, I watched that it started changing. And you looked at the biggest rapper in the world, and he was a white dude. And it opened up kind of the floodgates to a whole new different demographic of audience member. And I started writing White Privilege looking, being at a show in Olympia, Washington, which is a very white community. And
you don't say.
I think it was a Dead Prez show or something, and it's all white people, and I was just like, this is weird as hell, man. But it's something that I absolutely, not only in terms of society, benefit from my white privilege, but being a hip-hop artist in 2013, I do as well, in the sense that the people that are coming to the shows, the people that are connecting, that are resonating with me, that are like, I look like that guy, I have an immediate connection with him, I benefit from that privilege. And I think that mainstream pop culture has accepted me on a level that they might be reluctant to, in terms of a person of color. And they're like, oh, this is safe. This is okay. This is, he's positive. Like, I'm cussing my ass off in thrift shop. And families are like, fucking awesome. Yeah. But, so I think that, it's an interesting case study. It's something that, I feel as a white rapper, I have a certain amount of responsibility to, at the very least, speak on the issue of race, knowing that it's uncomfortable, that it's awkward, that in particular, white people are like, let's just not talk about it. Everyone is equal, you know, and the reality is that
we don't see race anymore.
yeah, that's just and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
We absolutely see race. We all do, and I think that we can evolve as long as we're having discussions about it, as long as we're talking about it, and I talk about it on the heist a little bit, you know, with the Trayvon Martin case, like feeling like I didn't, as a white rapper, can I talk about that? I'm also the enemy in a way, and not me specifically, but the system that I'm a part of, and can I speak on that issue? Do I tweet about that? Like, how do I bring that up? Like,
being
I don't want
sensitive to it.
Yeah, and it's something that, you know, I have to think about, and yet I think what surpasses all of it is just being a human, and, you know, striving for equality for all people. But to say that race isn't an issue in America in 2013 is just false. Absolutely. Yeah. And you look at the way that case panned out, and it's a clear indication that we have a far way to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. People look at what you're doing as like you're a sensation. You know what I mean? Like, you've impacted culture across the board, from hip hop to pop, in such a major way for the last, you know, it's gonna go on a year. Like, what is it about you that you feel like you're gonna be in it for the long haul? Like 5 years from now, that you're still in that conversation, or do you want to be? Do you see yourself? You know, you say you're such a hip hop head. Are there goals in your life that you feel even right now that you'd want to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. They're not like concrete goals. I think that it's very simple. I want to make good music, and I want to do it the way that I always have. I want to write records that are conceptual, that push myself as an artist, that push the listener, and speak on issues that I'm scared to speak on. And that's it. That's my formula. It's not complex, but it does take a while to write those records. I want to branch out. I want to work with other people. I want to, you know, challenge myself as an artist to always, you know, be evolving and growing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, I'm not like have a bucket list. Like, I need to do a track with Jay-Z. I need to sell this many more. You know, it doesn't break down like that. Like, those things would be great, but I want to have longevity. I want to be, and what that comes down to is making music from the heart and having the proper intention. If we go on and we never get another song on the radio, that will be fine with me. It will kind of suck, but no, it will. it honestly will be. It will be fine. Like, as long as we're making good music, that's all I care about.
Cool. Well, you make good music, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Take some pictures.